Hi, I'm Mark Mancini from Vacation Home Mastery and VRBO Outstanding. This week's episode is on accidental damage protection with Rental Guardian, so stay tuned. And welcome back this week. We've got John Slaughter here again from Rental Guardian, except this week, we're not going to beat a dead horse to death with travel insurance. We're going to talk about accidental damage protection because it is imperative you protect your home and your investment because a lot of times the guest isn't malicious. They just have accidents. And I am one who is accident prone, so I know how important this is. So, we talk about in our channel OwnerRez, and it's just one of the many PMSs that integrate with Rental Guardian and other accidental damage protections. But the great thing about rental owner reservations is that we can get deposits from when guests do things maliciously, whether they smoke in the house, they take something, etc. But a lot of times there's accidents, okay? It's a new home. Maybe you're walking through the home at night and you trip on something and fall over a glass table and everything breaks or something like that happens. So we're going to talk this week with John about the accidental damage protection. And before we actually go into our conversation, John's going to let me go over the pricing first before I go into this. With OwnerRez, we've got actually 4 different plans with it also a bed bug option. That's the thing I like about OwnerRez, and John will tell you about the bed bug option first. But we've got a $500 limit, a $1,500 limit, a $3,000 limit, and a $5,000 limit. We're going to have those prices here on the screen for you. But for $10 more on top of those prices, and respectively, those are $13, $27, $45, and $69. For $10 more, you get bed bug protection, okay? Now, we want to actually talk about the bed bug components. I'm going to tee this up for John. So we've got accidental damage protection limits and prices. And I want you to talk a little bit more about the bed bug protection because you actually cover not only with the extra $10, but host liability as well as bed bug protection of up to $15,000 in coverage. And I want to give you the floor for a few minutes here, John, with that bed bug protection, and then we'll talk about the accidental coverage.
Well, first, thanks for having me again. Great to be back and great to chat with all of you out there watching this presentation. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great program because, many times property managers or homeowners will say, well, I don't ever have to worry about bed bugs. But yet maybe your guest went to Vegas and picked up a few of those pesky critters and trucked them in their suitcase on the way to come visit you. And now all of a sudden, magically, you have bed bugs a week or two later. And with that, that is a very reputational risk. Nobody who rents homes on the internet wants to have reviews that state they have bed bugs because that is an automatic no thank you from guests wanting to come in. And so making sure that if you were to have an issue with bed bugs, to get rid of them quickly and efficiently is super important. The coverage is pretty straightforward. As you mentioned, there's up to $15,000 of total coverage in the bed bug situation. It's typically worked like this: $5,000 for a 1-bedroom, $10,000 for a 2-bedroom, and $15,000 for 3 or more bedrooms. Total coverage, meaning when a situation happens and somebody calls you up and says you have bed bugs, the first thing you want to do is get them out of that unit, right? There is no other way to go about it other than to remove them from the unit. And the easiest way to do that is put them up in another accommodation, like a hotel or somewhere like that. So that way they can be comfortable, but away from the bed bug situation that they're complaining about. Then it gives you the freedom to also be able to bring in your exterminator, however you choose, whether you use dogs or the heat treatment or heat-seeking missiles, whatever you have to do to be able to get rid of those bed bugs. You hire that person, they come in, they get that problem under control, remove the bed bugs. And then you're probably going to have to replace a lot of items like soft furnishings, possibly mattresses, pillows, things of that nature. right? All those types of things, you're going to want to remove those and get those replaced.
Pillows, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, if that unit is down for more than 72 hours for the treatment and the refurbishment of the items that you had to replace, then there is a lost revenue component that can be claimed as well, which then allows for you to be able to take revenue that might impact future stays because the home is uninhabitable for the bed bug component. So it's a great program. It's bundled in with the damage and the liability, which makes it a very quick and OwnerRes has done such a fantastic job of integrating our products into their platform. So that way, as a renting homes with OwnerRes, all you have to do is basically flip a switch and turn it on, and now you've got this great protection in place.
Great, great. And we're actually going to have an episode in the next couple of weeks on bed bugs, and it's going to feature my brother because he used to have a bed bug dog. He used to be a handler and take care of the Empire State Building. So we've got some family background in bed bugs. And in the almost 12 years of doing rentals, we actually had an allegation of bed bugs, which was false. It was actually they had jellyfish stings. It wasn't bed bugs that bit the kids' legs. But then we had an actual valid one that we'll go. I won't say what happened. We'll go into that in the episode. But the cost of bed bug mediation is not cheap. And it does involve multiple things, chemical, heat, etc. So the fact that Rental Guardian will go ahead and cover up to $15,000 and then offer the protection if for lost revenue is a huge component, considering that only adds $10 to the accidental damage protection. And again, there's 4 different levels: the 500, 1,500, 3,000, and 5,000. And everyone picks something that's in their wheelhouse. We go with $1,500. I'm going to be honest with you, John. We actually pass this cost on to our guests, and we actually upcharge. Many guests or hosts do different things. They'll actually charge the same amount, or they'll upcharge it, and it's entirely up to you. We're going to go into that in another episode, but the prices you have for this are really good, and I want to go over the process with a claim, whether it be bed bug or whether it be, again, someone walking in the middle of the night and tripping onto the glass table and breaking it. I know what's involved because I've filled out claims over the last several years. Can you walk us through the process of that?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. At that point, when you have to actually use the program, everything sounds great until the rubber meets the road, so to speak. And when that happens and you have to file a claim, and there's usually some emotion behind it, right? Because you just had a situation, your home is in a state of disrepair now. There's a lot of anxious feelings. So making ease of use of the program is important. You basically have to fill out some information on a form. You give us the details of what happened, right? It's very basic. For instance, in a damaged situation, which is the most common, it's just basically telling us a brief note about what happened. Guest spilled wine on the carpet. Fantastic. Then we need some proof of what happened. So while, in some of these destinations, I would love to, send our team out to forensically look at everything. All we need is a couple of pictures. And once you send those pictures in, then we also need the repair or replaced item. And that information, we just need to know how much it costs to be able to repair or replace the damage that was done. And then we also need you to verify that the information is accurate, and then you click submit. It is a very quick and seamless process. That information then goes to through the Rental Guardian system, and then goes directly to our team of claim adjudicators. They're waiting for those claims to come in. They jump on those. They then, if there's any questions, because it might be a more complex claim for whatever reason, they might have some questions, they'll reply directly. Otherwise, it's review the information, approve the information, and then we cut checks on Tuesdays and Thursdays to go out to directly reimburse for those damages.
And also, too, just to clarify what you had said, the form is an online form, makes it real easy. And it's actually a paid invoice we have to submit. It's not just a quote. You guys wanted to make sure that we actually spent the money. and got everything done, right? So, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people that may want to take advantage of the situation, but I'll be perfectly honest, John. All the times I've used it, you guys have been great with handling it. You obviously don't cover malicious things, like I said. Somebody there's a dent in the refrigerator because someone put their fist through it, right? And it may use it as a punching bag. But when we had an accident one time where our front entrance gate, they went out with a trailer and the gate closed on the trailer and just destroyed the gate. And we'll show you some pictures of that. But you guys did a great job of covering that. We got you all the invoices paid promptly. So a little secret about how I got started with OwnerRez. Several years ago, I was frustrated with VRBO because that was my only platform. I didn't really advertise on Airbnb. And VRBO gives you a choice of either a deposit or accidental damage protection. So I always did the accidental damage protection, not realizing not everything's an accident. And we had some issues, and the accidental damage protection wouldn't cover it. That's where the deposit would. So I went online, and before Facebook groups were a thing, there was forums. I went to a forum, and they recommended OwnerRez and the damage protection. And I started with a PMS strictly to have your accidental damage protection. So then I can use VRBO for the deposits. And then this way I was covered on both ends. And so that's how I got started with OwnerRez, believe it or not.
Wow. That's a cool story. And, that's one of those stories that I'll probably retell because, it's funny. I've had other situations where folks have sought us out, because they've heard about it or used it somewhere else or got access to it. And, the major difference, like for instance, with a program that you were using through the VRBO is that, the covered party is a big deal. And in those programs that are offered through the OTAs, the guest is the covered party, which means they technically own the policy. And when that's the case, they then hold all the cards when you need to have that, policy work for you, and you try and file a claim and the guest is like, nah, I didn't do that. That must have been like that.
You absolutely nailed it, because with VRBO, they will call the guest and confirm everything. So you actually had to call the guest ahead of time and say, look, we're not going to come after you, but you have to understand and explain the story that you did this and own up to it so that we can get reimbursed. Absolutely. And at least with this, the guest isn't involved. And the thing I love about this program, John, is what you just said was we have an issue when a guest has an accident. And I don't have to reach out to them. I could put the claim through, whether it's for $50 or $500. The guest doesn't even know. I still get my 5-star review. I get covered and everyone's happy. And so it's such a win-win. And again, using this coverage to me is a no-brainer. But there's a lot of little specifics we're going to go into in next week's episode. But I want to first talk about one last thing before we go this week is in our main course, our VRB Outstanding course, we talk about accidental damage protection and the options of either going through this or offering what we call self-insurance. And we go over the math about that. But again, our Vacation Home Mastery course is only $97 through the end of this year and goes back up to $297. So click on the link for that below. We have part 2. We're going to go into the details of accidental damage protection with John Slaughter. So come back here next week. Hit like and subscribe below, and we'll see you again next week.